The $230 million crypto heist, the Malone Lam story. Malone Lam had always believed one thing. Money was freedom. Not comfort, not security, freedom. He grew up watching people who had it, how they moved, how they were treated, how doors opened before they even knocked. It wasn't just the cars or the watches. It was the attention, the control, the way people leaned in when they spoke. Malone wanted that. Not someday, now. The shift. He wasn't a traditional criminal. He didn't grow up breaking into houses or running scams on the street. He grew up online. Gaming platforms, Discord servers, Telegram chats. That's where he met people like Connor Flansburgh, who understood systems, and others like Ethan Yarrelly and Cody Dermatas, who knew how to talk. Different skills, same goal. Money. Fast. No rules. The method, they built something structured, organized, almost corporate. Database hackers pulled data. Organizers identified wealthy targets. Callers made contact. Launderers cleaned the money. People like Kunal Mehta handled the financial side. Others, like Hamza Doost and Evan Tangerman, moved funds across wallets and exchanges. Malone sat at the center of it. The call that changed everything. August 18, 2024. A target in Washington, D.C. Wealthy, crypto-heavy, confident. That confidence was the opening. The first call came in smooth, calm, professional. Google security. Then another call, a crypto exchange. Urgency, pressure. The victim wasn't careless. He was overwhelmed. Step by step, they walked him through securing his accounts. Reset this, verify that, download this, and then remote access. The final mistake. The moment Malone was watching the screen, everyone was. Wallets open, addresses ready, hands hovering, voices overlapping. And then it hit. Over 4,100 Bitcoin, more than $230 million. For a split second, no one spoke. Then Malone jumped up, screaming, loud, uncontrollable, half shock, half pure joy. Yo, it worked! It actually worked! His voice cracked. He laughed, then shouted again. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. His first thought wasn't strategy. It wasn't risk. It was disbelief. This is real. My life just changed. I'm rich. I'm actually rich. The room erupted, voices shouting over each other, people pacing, hands on heads, laughing, yelling. And in the middle of all of it, they made one of their biggest mistakes. They had been recording the entire thing live. The calls, the reactions, the moment the money hit, everything. At the time, it felt like a trophy, proof, a memory of the moment everything changed. They didn't realize it would also become evidence. 17 minutes later, reality snapped back in. No more celebrating, now survival. The laundering began almost immediately. Bitcoin split, wallets rotated, funds moved across exchanges. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, Monero, layer after layer, trying to erase the moment they had just captured on video. Miami. Most of the group knew to stay quiet. Malone didn't. The moment the money became real, he needed the world to see it. 30 exotic cars materialized over the course of weeks. Ferraris, Lamborghinis, a McLaren, a Rolls-Royce, a Pagani. A single watch that cost $2 million. Rental homes in Los Angeles, the Hamptons, Miami. Private jets. A team of private security guards who followed him everywhere, which, in retrospect, only made him more visible. Night after night, Malone walked into clubs like he owned them. $300,000 nights, $500,000 nights. And he didn't just walk in quietly. When Malone arrived, the whole room knew it. A placard bearing his name, lit up, framed in lights, was carried through the crowd ahead of him. Sparklers erupted off it, shooting brilliant, cascading sparks into the air above the dance floor. Behind it came the bottles, champagne glowing electric blue and gold under blacklight, carried high by servers moving in formation through the crowd. Every eye in the room turned. The music didn't stop, but somehow it felt like it did. People screamed his name, Malone. Strangers who didn't know him an hour ago were now chanting for him like he was someone they'd always known. Like he was the reason they'd come out that night. He would stand at the entrance for just a moment, long enough to feel it wash over him, before moving to his table like a man who had always belonged there. This was the thing money had actually bought him. Not the cars, not the watches. This moment, this feeling, the whole room bending toward him. And then there was the Birkin strategy. Not one, not two. He had them delivered, hand-carried, to women he wanted to impress in Miami. Luxury Hermes bags, each worth tens of thousands of dollars, given away at nightclub parties like they were drink tickets. He bought them in bulk the way most people buy flowers. It was the currency he understood now. You can buy anything, he believed. Anything. Olivia. He first saw her across a rooftop in Miami. She wasn't trying to be noticed. That's what got him. Everyone else was performing. She was just there, easy in her own skin, laughing at something her friend said, head tilted back, completely unaware of the effect she was having on the room. Olivia was a Ford model. She posted on TikTok, travel content, lifestyle, a pink Jeep she drove through the Southwest that had become something of a personal signature. She had the kind of following that grew organically, person by person, because people genuinely liked her, not because she was chasing anything. That distinction was lost on Malone. He sent a bottle to her table. She glanced over, smiled politely, turned back to her friends. He sent another. Same smile, same turn. So he escalated. He had one of his guys approach her with a bag. Orange box, white ribbon, the unmistakable weight of a Birkin. From Malone. She looked at the bag, looked at the guy holding it. Who's Malone? He was standing 20 feet away, watching the whole thing. She took the bag, confused, half laughing, clearly not sure if this was real, and for a moment he thought it had worked. It hadn't. She came over to thank him, gracious about it, said it was insane, said she couldn't accept it. He insisted. She left it on the table when she left. The campaign, that should have been the end of it. It wasn't. Malone became focused on her in a way that had nothing to do with romance and everything to do with ego. Everyone else had taken the bags. Everyone else had leaned in. Olivia had walked away, and that single fact rewired his thinking. He needed her to choose him, specifically, not the money, him. Over the following weeks, Birkin bags were sent to her, hand-delivered to places she'd been spotted. A pink one, then a neutral, then a limited edition he'd had someone source specifically, each with a note, each unanswered beyond a polite, brief acknowledgement. He had a Lamborghini wrapped in a custom color and arranged for it to be shown to her. She posted a TikTok the morning after one delivery. He thought it was about him. It wasn't. She was posting about something completely different. A sunrise, a road trip, a coffee she liked, normal life. The bags barely registered to her as anything other than a strange, uncomfortable situation she wasn't sure how to handle publicly. Her friends told her to look him up. She did. What she found didn't exactly clarify things. A young guy who seemed to have money from crypto, was always in the clubs, and went by names online that didn't quite add up. She kept her distance. The harder she was to reach, the more he escalated. Hundreds of thousands of dollars chasing one person who had already answered with silence. The spiral. The more he spent, the more he felt something missing. The nights got louder to cover the quiet that was growing underneath everything. More noise, more movement, more strangers. He kept ordering the sparklers, kept having his name carried through the crowd on a lit placard, kept watching the room turn toward him. But the feeling lasted less time each night, and eventually drugs to blur the edges of the question he kept not asking himself. If none of this is working, what is it actually for? The paranoia. Then came the feeling. Something wasn't right. Too many eyes, too many questions, too many small mistakes, wallet overlaps, sloppy transfers, careless moments. The recording, that moment, that evidence. He had screamed for joy on camera the instant $230 million hit his wallet. He'd spent months trying to launder the money and had done nothing to launder that video. The raid, September 19th, 2024. The house was quiet. No music, no crowd. Then, movement. Federal agents moved in. Malone Lam, 20 years old, a Singaporean national living in the U.S. on an expired tourist visa, was charged along with 12 others under the RICO Act: conspiracy to commit wire fraud, conspiracy to launder monetary instruments, and obstruction of justice. The cars were seized. The watch, the houses. Everything that had once been proof of something became proof of something else entirely. He was arrested, surrounded by everything he thought had made him real. After Olivia found out about the arrest the way most people did, on TikTok, comments started flooding her older videos. Wait, do you know who that guy was? Then DMs. Then people tagging her in news articles. She had never posted about him, had never named him, had quietly returned or declined most of what was sent. But the internet had already connected the dots. She went on TikTok and posted about it. The story of the night a stranger in a club handed her a Birkin bag. The confusion of it. The way it felt too random and too much all at once. She didn't play it for drama. She played it exactly as it had felt to her at the time. Surreal, uncomfortable, a little funny in retrospect. The video got hundreds of thousands of views. The comments went wild. You have to give it back to the feds. At this point, check if it has a GPS in it. Girl, you almost became a co-defendant. She laughed at most of them, responded to a few, made a follow-up, then another. She had accidentally become part of the most watched financial crime story of the year, not because she'd done anything wrong, but because she'd done something Malone couldn't understand. She'd said no. The ending. The cars were gone, the watches, the houses, the nights, gone forever. And the recording from August 18th, the moment he'd screamed in pure, uncontrollable joy, became the thing prosecutors played to explain everything that came after. Malone had believed that money was freedom. What he'd actually built was a very expensive, very visible cage. And now, he stared through a different kind of bars. Not the velvet-roped bottle service kind where his name was carried through the crowd on a lit placard, where sparklers rained brilliant cascading light over his table, where glowing bottles arrived in procession and the whole room screamed for him. These bars didn't move. No crowd on the other side, no one leaning in, no sparklers, no chanting, just fluorescent light, concrete, time. The same young man who had stood in a Miami club and felt the whole world bend toward him, now waiting for a federal judge to decide how many years of his life belonged to someone else. And somewhere in Miami, Olivia posted a TikTok from her pink Jeep. Sunrise, open road, coffee in the cup holder, no Birkins in sight. Because in the end, it wasn't just the crime that caught him. It was the moment he believed he had already won. And the one person he couldn't buy, who walked away without looking back.